Welcome everybody to Conscious Corner. I'm guest host Rashaki Maskani. Professor Rahh won't be here this evening. Historian Joe Hembrick may show up. I don't know if he's coming or not, but we're gonna keep this going. We're gonna do the Black Community News Forum. We got Brother Doctor here, and we got Brother E, and I think some other people may show up as we're proceeding. So what we're gonna do this evening, we're going to show a clip, and then we're gonna get everybody's response on it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with that. So here's the first clip. We have Professor. We have Kamala Harris, the Vice President, and I think also DeSantis. I don't have a clip on them, so let's check that out. Let me share the screen. Brother Mashinda's coming in. So here we go.
Governor Ron DeSantis is firing back at Vice President Kamala Harris after she blasted the state's new black.
So can everybody hear that?
Yeah, I hear it.
Okay, good.
Governor Ron DeSantis is firing back at Vice President Kamala Harris after she blasted the state's new Black History standards.
Just moments ago, Harris responded to his invite to take their war of words to the debate stage. Local 10's Glenna Milberg live down in Miami with more. Glenna.
Yeah, that was a big fat no. Calvin Nicole, you will not be surprised to hear that the vice president will not be debating the governor. Ron DeSantis issued that invitation in a letter to her last night, and then his office put that letter out to the press. So you can tell that this is very specifically put into the campaign trail. This issue is destined to be that for the next few months.
Good morning, Governor.
The governor in New Hampshire.
It's wrong to let false narratives stand.
The vice president in Orlando.
Right here in Florida, they plan to teach students that enslaved people benefited from slavery.
Ron DeSantis' letter to the vice president Monday night, serious offer, snarky tone, baits the vice president for a debate on the new state African-American history curriculum.
No lecture, no invitation. We will accept to debate an undeniable fact. There were no redeeming qualities of slavery.
The national outrage exploded over a benchmark in a lesson about labor enslaved people were forced to do.
She supported a similar in the AP African American History course that she endorsed earlier this year.
That AP course has a lesson that says enslaved people learn specialized trades, lists some of them, and says once free, African Americans use these skills to provide for themselves and others. Compare that with the state lesson benchmark that says slaves developed skills which, in some instances, could be applied for their personal benefit.
Florida is a path breaker.
Dr. William Allen was part of the work group that wrote the Florida standards. On This Week in South Florida, he defended that work that is now a national political wedge.
Politicians sometimes do things not on the basis of principle, but on the basis of momentary perceived advantage.
It is definitely in the political rhetoric for months to come now. There will be no debate between the vice.
So I'm gonna stop it right there. Okay, so we'll start with you, Brother E. Brother E, what did you get from that clip, and what is your opinion on those new standards that they have for teaching Black kids, well, teaching children, period, about the benefits, how slaves benefited from slavery?
Well, I believe that's been their agenda all along to kind of reinforce that that the slavery did exist. Put in the elementary and the junior high and high school children head. As far as his committee that he put together. Say he put a lot of African Americans together, to come up with it. So I disagree as far as him putting that together in the fashion that they did. And I feel he's trying to kind of divide Florida, with the rest of the country, I suppose, as far as what they want to teach. I don't agree with it.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for that, brother doctor.
I will agree with it, everything he says. As long as the people in Miami still going to work, not doing nothing and just talking, I agree with everything he says and does, man. They're
Who's
not
that?
doing anything, so they don't care. I don't care.
As far as what?
Nobody's doing. He's putting these rules out. Nobody's doing nothing. So,
Oh, you saying
I
there's
guess
no
it's okay.
opposition to it?
There's no opposition to it, man. None at all. It's going through light and speed, man, and no one's doing nothing. Just a lot of talk. It's gonna happen. It's gonna do it. So if they don't care, I don't care.
So you don't think it's opposition? I know a lot of
Nah.
people that oppose it, but the
Yeah,
actions.
I mean, yeah.
I don't know
Where's
if
the
it's.
actions at?
Well, that's what I gotta see how it's gonna play out, if it's gonna remain or
Like I
not.
said, as long as no one's doing nothing, I would agree with everything that's going on because nobody's care, man. So
Okay, brother Mashinda.
Yeah, what's your question? I just kind of got on. So
Well, we listened to that
what was
clip,
that?
and basically, the main thing is the standards that they're providing, Black history, African American history, how they said that the slaves benefited in some way to slavery. There were some benefits. So, what is your
Oh,
take
okay,
on
yeah.
that?
Well, that's just the basic white supremacist rhetoric, that they've been perpetuating forever. I mean, they know it's late in the game. You use a sports analogy. You know, they in overtime. And they try to win. So that's just one of the battles. If you look at the different wars over time, the physical battles, there's a lot of mental battles, a lot of psychological uh things that they're trying to continue to portray, trying to get into the psyche of their own people, to keep them influenced, So I mean, basically, you know, I work around people like this every day that, they have these belief systems, and I mean directly. So I mean I have firsthand, you know, experience with dealing with that. They don't portray that attitude or talk crazy around me because they know I won't, I won't stand for it, or they have respect for me in a certain regard, So, but if you look at history, you get dead in if you had a book in your hand. You know what I mean? So it's all about trying to keep people ignorant in the dark. I understand brother doctor's sentiments, because people are asleep. If you individuals look at themselves, everybody that joins the podcast or listens to the podcast is like, what kind of direct influence do you have on this situation? You have to ask yourself that. And then, the people in Florida, and not just Florida, but across like you take the Black Congressional Black Caucus or the NAACP, or you know, you don't see there's no major protests going on. Like, you can turn on, see it, Fox News. Huh? Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, you can turn on those mainstream media platforms, and you should see like widespread protests and things like that. But the thing is, that's not happening. And you're gonna wake up one day, you can have civil war going on. People don't believe, people are, it's some serious things that are going on. So this is not a joke. It's not, it's for real. And so, but like I say, they're gonna continue to perpetuate that mindset, that rhetoric, to make a comment like, slaves benefited from, learning skills and things like that. You know, that's, you know, that's ridiculous as far as, the context or anything they're trying to say about that. That's just ridiculous. I mean, it's insulting. The ones that have intelligence, that's insulting their intelligence. Come on, man. So it's an old argument. It's old. They know it's late in the game, so they're trying to make America great again. They're trying to, rewrite history, bring back the good old days and all the rest of the cliches. You know what I'm saying? So everybody, they talking about woke and all that. Yeah, people better not be asleep, because it's for real. This is not a joke. I deal with these folks every day. And so, but anyway, I don't really have much to add. The current administration, the government, they're not addressing it. They might have they might have different media shots where they're speaking, about something or whatever. I know DeSantis challenged the vice president in a debate, and she said, "No, I'm not going to even dignify the dude. I'm not going to even entertain him." But at the same time, it's like, but that goes to show, like even the president, I mean, these things are serious. People are saying a lot of different. There's a lot of remarks being made, and it's kind of like it's getting to be mainstream. It's getting to be, it's getting to be a regular occurrence, and people are being desensitized by it. But most people aren't even in tune. I have conversations with different people. They don't even know what we're talking about. They have no concept of what, they know what racism is. They're not, you know what I'm saying? But they don't have no concept of what's happening, as far as the overall, thing. So back to what Brother Doctor was saying, it's like cutting to the chase. It's like, man, you better protect yourself, you and your family. I told you I'm not in searching on the search and rescue team anymore. I'm in survival mode. And I think you know what that means. Don't get me wrong, I'll help anybody that's within my path. I deal with people every day. I'm a helper, I'm gonna help. But at the same time, hey man, don't let the ignorance of the masses get you smoked out the game. Because you get thrown under the bus, you get ate up. Telling you, it's that deep. People will fuss at you. They'll create an argument with you about truth. You might be trying to give them some truth, and they'll argue with you. So. But anyway, that's it for me.
Yeah, I wanna kind of add to what you're saying. You said that most people know about racism. I kind of disagree a little bit with that because a lot of people think racism, they get it confused with attack on ethnicity, and they don't realize that it's a system of government, and it's another, since racism is mentioned all the time, it's another term that's being confused by a lot of people. They're confused by it, and they get into debates about what racism is, and that's another tool of the racist society that keeps people divided. But what I want to do here is we have a sister making it happen. We got Linda and we got Brother Quabana that just joined, and I want to bring them kind of up to speed to where we are. And then I want to get Linda first because she's in Florida. So basically, what we're discussing at this moment, and let me say, Professor Rahh is not here today. He had an important engagement that he had to attend to today. So we're going to get back with Professor Rahh next week. I'm just standing in for him as the guest host. But we're talking about basically the standards of Florida, and I think it may be in a couple of other states where they have in the standards that there were some benefits that slaves had. And I want Linda to chime in on that since she's in Florida. How you doing,
Well,
Linda?
oh, I'm doing good. But the only thing I can say about this Satan is
The Satan.
it's true. This Satan. That's what we call him. Yeah.
Okay,
And
go ahead.
and so I'm agreeing with everybody. People need to wake up. Because this fool said, I even heard it was a black man saying that slavery was beneficial. So I've been pulling up trying to figure out who that fool is. So the brother, right? We all need to wake up because it's real. And you talk about a devil. We had to deal already with that fool Trump, and now this the Satan. He even worse, evil because it's just pure evil.
Yeah, I heard that.
And the only thing I can say, in Florida, a lot of what we're doing is because we just started what is called a Freedom School, and then that's at the museum, the Carter G. Woodson Museum, and then at the local Black libraries we have classes. So we just have to teach our own, just the truth. And I'm open for any other suggestions that I can do, just on my end, because we in the hole. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's insane. I agree with you with that. Yeah, we're gonna go to Sister Making It Happen.
Greetings, family. Hotep, everyone. Peace and blessings.
Greetings.
So yeah, we're at war, and it's real, and it's on multiple fronts. And so, I like what I heard with Brother Mashinda. You need to know what time it is. You need to know kind of where your family's at. Take care of yourself. As those paths cross, you support one another. But yeah, it's sick to know that these are the games being played. And if you are woke and you have any sense of communication and self, and you hear these things, it's like a dagger coming at you. So you need to know that be prepared for what's happening, and we have to really be ready, because it's gonna knock on everybody's door eventually. So be ready.
Okay, all right, thank you, Brother Kwabena.
Yes. Hey, good evening, everyone. I agree from what I've heard so far about Florida, and like the sister called him, the Satan. And I did hear that black man that was on the board, I guess, agreeing with them about how we benefited learning some skills from being enslaved by these beasts. And I was being facetious with some friends of mine, talking about how it gave us some skills, some of them skills that, what was this guy's name back in the day? He was a football commentator, and he was talking about how fast we run. I said, yeah, it gave us, probably got some more skills to run fast when we ran away from them as fast as we could once we were escaping. Helped us out in that way to get away from them and how they were treating us. And I was trying to be facetious, whatever. I try to sometimes put some jokes and stuff that really ain't funny. Sometimes we got to laugh to stop from crying. But I'm glad that the Alphas decided in Dallas a couple of weeks ago that they won't be bringing their convention there in a couple of years. I'm glad that the National Society of Black Engineers decided to move their convention away from Florida. It was unfortunate that fraternity I'm involved in, Kappa Alpha Psi, did have their convention there last month. It was definitely a big internal debate. We kind of went out a little bit too, so that's why I'm speaking on it. But a lot of us wanted them to cancel it. They were saying it was too last minute and they couldn't afford it. And I don't know. I don't think we, and I can be honest, I don't think we got enough heat for even having it there. We should have got more heat. We may still get more, but we wrote a letter, said we were, we stand with the people protesting against it, against Florida in that decision. This critical race theory that would even happen in schools anyway, that was only happening in the schools and colleges on the East Coast. So just, I do want to say, and you guys may have spoken about this before, when we think about critical race theory and why those crackers are scared of that and more, with the truth being told or some history being told, I think about what happened during the Ahmaud Arbery, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor uprisings of a couple of years ago, and how white folks was going crazy also. I mean, look at all the protests they had in Portland. And there's not many of us in Portland. I mean, it lasted so long, and burning of the police stations and things that they were doing. Where I live in Gary, Indiana, I work with Black Lives Matter. We had like 2 protests, 2, maybe 3. They were like protests every week. And so a lot of them, Europeans were organizing the protests, trying to get us to participate with them and what have you. And so this is like the Chicago area and the suburbs. There were protests almost every week that were going on. And I think these crackers were like, oh, wait a minute. Our children are like, saying, yeah, we did this. We continue to do this. We got to make sure they don't even think like that no more. So let's try it. But the Satan and them idiots out there, leadership, I mean, we got to make them feel the brunt of what they're doing, and hold back economically, and we got to teach our own people anyway. We've been needing to do that. We need to teach our people the truth. We have to take control of our education system, over our entertainment, of our culture, all of that. So, yeah, this is another wake up call for the people. And just like, I don't know if you guys may have mentioned this already too, and you are going to talk about it. So much hype going on with the beat down that took place of them fools on that boat.
That's next.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'm a little bit.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah,
I know you. I figured you're gonna get to that, but okay, yeah, that's my thoughts about Florida though.
Okay.
I'm in solidarity with the protests and staying away from there.
Okay. Well, thanks for that. And yes, now I was looking at that clip that I showed, and we what I noticed when they showed those 2 different standards, the one that DeSantis or DeSatan, as y'all call him, the one he was talking about, that Kamala Harris, when she agreed with that standard didn't say anything about benefits. And then when you look at the standard that they have that said benefits, that's the key word. There weren't any benefits of slavery. I mean, it's just straight up none. So the 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 play on words is very important, because it's how people interpret it, and then that's how we get all this confusion and things being pushed out of proportion. Just that word alone, benefits, should be eliminated. And if they're going to have something in the standard similar to that, they can say that slaves. I don't think most of the slaves brought the skills to the plantation and created certain things, as your sister Linda would say. All of the inventions. So we brought skills we already had. But yeah, that just saying benefit is very incorrect. So that's all I'm gonna say about that. And sister, making it happen, please make it quick so we can get to this other clip. Go ahead, sister, making it happen.
And if you're going to say a benefit is someone robbing you and stealing everything from you, I don't know if that's a benefit, but that's the only thing we got was robbed.
You're right about that. Okay, I'm gonna go to this next clip. We got a few more people that joined, Sister Kathy and Sister Nige. So let's look at this next clip, and I want to get everybody's opinion on it or their perspective. Let's check it out. Let's share the screen. I have to Go away from this one. Hold on a second here.
Vice President and the governor, but there will be.
Switch to the other one. All right, here we go. Check it out, folks.
Exactly
Okay, here we go.
Okay. This
Come
is
on,
at
give
the
us the commentary.
riverfront
All
in
right, so check
Montgomery,
it.
Alabama.
Homeboy, white guy, starts picking a fight with the black security guard. He's swinging. His homies start entering. They all want a piece of the action. This guy's fighting now, what, 5 guys by himself? 6 guys, 7 guys, 8 guys. He's solo dolo. But not for long, because his fellow brothers, one comes running down the dock. Oh, you
Trying
want
to be
some?
nice guy. No,
Here
he's trying to be
I am.
nice guy,
He's
trying to break it up.
But the kicker is the man who swam in the lake to get some action. He is swimming to the end of the dock at record speed. I want to see him against Michael Phelps because I think he might have beaten him. He is literally swimming for his life, gets to the edge of the dock, pulls himself out soaking wet. Look at the strength. Look at the
Yeah, that's hard. People don't understand. Soaking wet, that's hard.
Takes his shoes off and says, it's go time. Y'all want some? I got some for you. Now it's on, but it's not over. The homies pull up. Now we got a squad.
Now
He
it's
said,
even.
oh, you thought we forgot? Now it's even.
Left hook.
What's good? And the fight just goes. It looked like the Avengers Endgame. This is like the black version of the Avengers.
Wow, this was unbelievable. But I will say this.
Everyone's getting a piece of action.
Listen, racial tension was soaring, and then on the Twitter land and social media, everybody's talking about this and really having fun with it. You know, this isn't like it's a serious matter.
There were chairs being used as weapons.
But this is what I would say. All right, the black security guard was outnumbered from the jump. And then all of a sudden, he got 5, 6, 7 people surrounding him.
Yeah.
Right?
Look,
then
he's
all of a
gouging his
sudden,
eyes out.
you had all these black folks come. All right? And I have to say this. Mad respect to the white people. And the reason why is because they were still coming.
Yeah,
They're outnumbered. There's 7, 8 of them, 3, 4 women. And then they still kept coming. Look at them. They not giving up. They not retreating.
Look at the guy with the folding chair.
Look, but he's still fighting. Look, he won't stop.
Yeah.
Look at him. He's not done. Oh my goodness. All right, look. My goodness. We don't condone this. We don't condone this. We don't condone this, but this is a hot topic right now. Listen, people, we got to respect each other. You know, Omar didn't respect me.
Okay.
All right, I was on mute, you guys. Sister Kathy, see that?
Yeah, wait. I don't know. Wait, I'm trying to be there. I'm there. Okay, can you hear me?
You. Yes.
Okay, hi, yeah, I'm here. I'm still running errands, but I told you I'm making it. I'm listening in. And that's just horrible. It's not funny. It's just ridiculous. It don't make no sense.
It don't make any sense?
Nah, not at all.
Okay, well, let me get some other opinions on that.
Okay.
All right, thanks. I'll come back to you. Brother Doctor?
Yeah, what's the question?
What do you think about that mini brawl there?
Fortunately, I don't know if it's you or me. Your video wasn't pausing, but I've seen the original. So, someone else on the show earlier said we're at war, and I know Professor Rahh always say that we're at war, but you guys gotta understand we're not at war. As black people, we're not at war.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Can you Can you summarize everything that happened, because your video kept, and I'm on the late freight. I just heard a little piece. Can you please give me a summary?
Well, there was Brother Doctor. Can you kind of explain it, because that's where I got it from. Where it actually was and what happened.
Yeah, it's all over the news, all over the black internet now. But basically, what happened was a group of whites pulled up their platoon to this dock where the big showboat is supposed to have docked, where all the blacks were celebrating on this big boat, I guess. And apparently, the security guard came out and told them, hey, they have to move because the other boat is trying to dock there. So instead of moving, they had words with the security guard and decided to beat down the security guard. All these white people. So all the blacks around noticed that the brother was getting beat down. They kind of just was standing and watching the blacks beat up the whites.
What was
Then
it? Where
end
was
up
this?
taking
Where
the
was
whites in
this?
custody. This was I want to say Alabama.
This is
If
wow.
Anybody else that knows, I believe it was Alabama.
Yes,
I could
it
be
was
wrong.
in Alabama. Yes.
Montgomery, Alabama.
So, but like I said earlier, someone, like I was saying, someone used the term "we're at war." I know President Rahh always said we're at war. We're not at war. We're not at war. If you look up the definition of war, it's two armed conflicts against two groups. We're not armed. They're at war against us, but we're not at war against them, So we're never at war because we're not fighting back. We're not armed. They're using warfare tactics, legal, psychological, and we're not using that back. So I hate when I hear people say we're at war. We're not at war. But that fight there, that little example, that was war. Because when they were beating up the security guard, when he was by himself, that wasn't war. But when all the blacks came in and started whooping, that was war. That was war. And until we get to like they did, all came together and just started whooping, we'll never be at war.
Well, let me tell you what Professor Ross says, Brother Doctor. He say that we're in a war. He said you may not be at war, but we're in a war. And I understand what he's saying. And you all, if you don't think that we're in a war, that's probably because I would say you're not participating, but there's ways that you can fight. It don't always have to be physical or weaponry. We're in a mental war for sure. And I can say that we're losing or we at bay, but I'm definitely fighting the way I can fight. I'm at a war against inhumanity. That's what I'm at a war against. So that's what Professor Ross said. You may not be at war, but you in a war. That's his saying. Okay. Thanks for that, Brother Doctor. So Linda, now that we told you about that, what do you think that was going on as those black people came to the aid of the security guard and started fighting back? What do you think?
Oh, I'm loving it, man. I'm gonna find the whole video and see it and look at the news more because I just was so wrapped up in other stuff, and especially with this Satan, didn't even know that was going on. But I will be looking that up online this evening.
Oh yes, plenty of clips on it. Okay.
And the answer to your question, I'm glad they did. I'm glad they beat them down, and I'm glad they were arrested. Thank goodness. I thank God. Finally, we get something.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. Thank you, Brother E.
Yeah, what I seen, looking at some of the footage I seen a situation where I believe the Caucasians individually are getting a lot more courage to try to, attack blacks, when they seem they could have beneficial, if they're outnumbered, they seem to have a lot more courage. So us fighting back, that's something that I've been accustomed to in school, fighting different nationalities, and riots at school and also in jail. That's something that occurs. We all stick together. We may have different animosities or different beefs on the streets, you know what I'm saying? But when it's time to all come together as one, we always do that. So I've seen that. And the only thing it is, our numbers are pretty low. We're outnumbered all the time. So the ones that do come together and show that courage and unity, that's what it is, as far as that. And I would like to see us as a people, kind of develop a system where we can relate to each other in different cities. When I come to your city, who do I need to see, who do I need to talk to, or establish, your group or, for protection or different other things, who can I, be in community with when I'm in your city or your town, So I just like, our unity as one, coming together and, sticking up for one another.
All right. So yeah, you talking about some type of system like a green book system. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. When I come to, Chicago, who can I talk to, won't be in the mix or, interrupting you guys flow up there. I just want to be a part of, the brotherhood, and, make sure I'm safe and people around me.
Holla at me, brother.
Guabana's in that area. All right. Sister making it happen.
Yes. So it's interesting because my husband and I were having a morning walk, and this young brother, they would just started talking, my husband and the young brother, and then he happened to share that video with us. He said, I want to show y'all this. I want to show y'all this. And so we all sat around and watched it, and then we called another brother over and we sat around and we watched it. And, we was, I guess, encouraged by the show of support for the security. Of course, it was completely out of context for me because it was like if someone showed me a video, so I didn't quite understand that it was a security guard, that he was working and he was doing his job, that he was trying to make way for another boat. Didn't understand all of that was happening. But I could see that people were jumping in the water. I could see that people started running in, kind of trying to support him. And then it became like, yeah, we at war. We're fighting now. We're toe to toe. Everybody toe to toe. At first, it was, of course, uneven. The brother was being taken advantage of and being treated like a slave, or being meant to be pumped and be put down like a slave. And so it was, we were encouraged of the bravery of folks to come in and support. And then towards the end of the night, I happened to follow up and see the news, or maybe the next day or so, I'm not sure, that they started arresting people, and they started arresting the white people. So then now, it's like, okay, that was interesting. So now I know that he was working. And so it was just interesting to see how that turned out. But yeah, it made me feel like we definitely need to be supporting each other, be ready, because the war that we are in, whether we're fighting it or not physically, but all the fronts are coming at us, just be ready, because eventually physically your time may be coming. So it was good to see that that response.
All right, thanks a lot. Brother Mashenda?
Yeah, them dudes had to be drunk, man. They pulling there, they coming off the boat. They probably was drunk, got stupid. In Montgomery is 60% black, man. So that show you how brazen, you ever heard of a animal like a raccoon? A raccoon, if you see a raccoon walking around in the daytime, probably got rabies, probably sick, There's a lot of nocturnal creatures out there. If you see them in the daytime, they could be sick, So that's what they remind me of, how they're acting, They're bold, they're like, that's an analogy, that they're doing stuff that's not normal. And when I say it is normal for them in a lot of ways, but I'm not going to get there right now. When I say normal, they're being bold, at this time where, they jumping on people and doing crazy stuff, So it's indicative of the times, you know what I'm saying? And especially in the South, you hang out down here, in the South, white folks ain't scared of black folks, and so that's one thing. In some places they might be in fear, but a lot of times they try to prove their point. They'll try you. Policemen with the guns, try to, they try to pull off, what they do. They behind not just the badge, but behind a gun and the law. So they get bad, big, bold, and bad. At least in their own minds. So it's dangerous out there. You know, it's dangerous, and you know, you can't live your life in fear, but you got to be aware and you got to be cautious of what's going on. You know, because like the brother E say, you know, you got to it'd be smart. You know, if you're traveling, you need to check in. You know, with you know people that know the area. You know, you don't know where you're going. You know, you don't you know, like where we grew up. You know, you just don't be rolling places. You know, you got to know where you're going. There's certain places you go and certain places you don't go unless you. So I'm just saying that's just indicative of what could happen to you when you go out of town. You understand? So that's just a sign. That's all it is. But I believe them dudes was drunk and got stupid. You know, bold, try to be bold, white boys, and you know they got the caps peeled back. You know, that's all. That, and I don't mean that as a joke. I mean it seriously. You know, because that's a microcosm of what can explode in society for real, you know, seriously. So, but that's all I have to say. It's nothing more to it. It speaks for itself. And and to respond back to what you was talking about racism, people know what time it is, man. It's just that they may not exemplify it. You know, people are quiet. A lot of people are quiet. They don't even, you know, but you know, again, understanding the definition of what's going on. Yeah, they kind of have an idea, but it's just that their time and their mind is into other things. They're not even paying attention to what we're talking about. A lot of people, I would say, you know, I don't want to put a number on it, but it's a big number that don't even understand what you're talking about tonight. So continue to educate, brother. That's all.
All right, thanks. Brother Quabana?
Yeah, man, you know, I was watching. I saw a clip about a fight, a brawl this weekend between the White Sox and the Cleveland. I forgot Cleveland changed the name of their team, but the Cleveland Indians.
The Guardians.
The Guardians. So I watched that brawl. I looked for it. I watched a piece of it, and Straw about it. He told me, man, you know, my man got knocked down. So I tried to find it again. I said, that's a good old fashioned baseball brawl. Nothing like those. So we tried to check them out. And that's when I stumbled upon this other, the one in Montgomery, Alabama. And I was first, one that almost brought tears to my eyes was that brother swimming. Evidently he jumped off the boat and swam over there. He couldn't wait for the boat to dock to get with him. He swam over there. And so that one was just, I mean, I love that he would just swim and didn't do that thing. And I saw that a lot of them, I guess, were also his co-workers, it seems like, that saw this going on too. I'm believing that some of were his co-workers who were on that boat because they got off that boat, taking their shirt off. And, you know, even though it's really not a funny situation, but some things about it were like, people pointed out how them brothers start skipping over there to the to the pontoon boat to get at them fools who had jumped on that brother. How we do that skip. And I was like, wow. And then when I looked at that, and then the WWE, WWF, WWE, WCW cat with the chair. I mean, it was some video, the video itself that has so many people looking at it, and I guess in a way entertained by it or proud of it or what have you. I understand that element of it. However, I also agree that we gotta organize, and like our brother said, that was a war. That was a mini war. It wasn't too much strategy there, but it was just hey, we gotta react to what's going on, quick mobilization, and defend our people. And there was a white boy also who was in there trying to pull the white folks off. I don't know if y'all noticed him. If you check him too, I guess he had a different color shirt on, trying to pull the white boy off, and he gets socked in the stomach by the white boy as they first jumped on that brother. They punch him in the stomach and back him up and get him out the way. So no, you ain't trying to help out on this one or anybody. You're not trying to get us off of that dude. And then, you know, then I don't know if y'all get a chance too. That people are just crazy. Already there's a parody on this thing. And I know Sister earlier said, this stuff ain't funny. It really ain't funny. But there's a parody of this already with in a swimming pool. I'm like, they got some white boys, white folks, there's a girl in there too, and brothers to make a parody already at a swimming pool of this fight. You know, I'm sure y'all will see it because it's getting kind of viral too. But I don't know. It's a I mean, it's an issue. Again, it's very heated and hot, but I think we need to learn lessons from it, and I'm sure we will. Of being organized, and like our brother Machinda said, don't be scared, but be careful, be alert, be aware, because that's just a fist fight. But as we know, there's so much gun violence going on right now. So many idiots out here who are shooting up grocery stores, shooting up churches. We're shooting up each other. I mean, I think again too about when I was working at the school playing ball as an administrator with the cats on the team and other cats, and a white boy out there, only one on the court, dropped the N-bomb. I can't believe we losing to these ends. So I happened to have a ball at the time, so I picked it up. It's like, no, this what am I hearing this for real? And one of the dudes on the team said, yeah, he says that. I said, y'all let that dude get away with that? So y'all gonna get him hurt because they get comfortable sometime, and they get comfortable, but we don't. Still, a lot of us don't play that, and so y'all gonna get them hurt. And I always say that currently white folks who drop N-bombs on us today in public like that, they doubly, triply ignorant. Because they don't have to, because we do it to ourselves. If you notice on the boat, when they're first riding there, the people on the boat start singing this song by Ludacris. Move, get out the way, get out the way. And they beeping out the N-bomb that they're dropping. Move in, get out the way. So, I mean, just a lot of things, but we got to get organized. We got to, we got to get organized before we mobilize and get ready to, because we're under attack. We say, are we at war? Are we under attack? We're under attack, and we're not fighting back like we should. And we have to be organized to fight back, because the main ones who are getting us are not these drunk crackers on this boat, but the ones in suits and ties running this entertainment industry and running AFRICOM and doing all that. So I know that was a little bit off and everything else, but those are my thoughts about it thus far.
So, Brother Kwabna, you saying that somebody's trying to is it a fictional imitation of it or something real?
Oh no, it's fictional. They already, white folks and black folks and already got together and they're at a swimming pool. There's a brother swimming across the pool. They're acting like it's a fight, and it's just that somebody got a chair. It's just silly. Just people silly too. It's just silliness.
Yeah, the thing about it is, who says this? It's Neely Fuller. He said that black people are, and not even also, it's probably you could say this about some white people, but they said that that black people are serious about silly things and silly about serious things, and we have to come to the point where we have to get our mentality together, because it's like we make a mountain out of a molehill when it comes to stupid things. And I agree with Brother Neely Fuller on that. So let's go to the next clip. Thanks for everybody's comment on that. Let's go to the next clip. This is a shift too. Now this is the Muslim, not a Muslim, but the Israelite, one of the Israelite leaders, and he's going to say some things about tithing. So let's check that out.
There's no sound.
You guys says no sound at all?
No sound.
You said there was no sound?
Yes, that's what I said.
Linda didn't hear it. Did anybody else hear that?
No sound on my end either.
No.
Okay, let me do it over. So I think this is important. Yeah, you're right. There was no sound, but here we got it now.
Tithing in the Bible, tithing is 10% of your corn and crops. It was paid to the Levites, okay, to take care of the Levites every 3 years. The churches have manipulated that scripture and said, oh, no, 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 now it's money. They got that from the colonizer. That's how they got wealthy. That's how the white man got rich. That's how he became rich. These pastors want to get rich. They want the Bentley, the Bugatti car, the Porsche, the Bentley. That's what they want. Through you. Through you. Those days must end now. We all work, okay, and we support one another. Everybody understand that? Okay.
So how would you describe these pastors who are bent on collecting tax from people?
How would I describe them?
Yeah.
Thieves. These pastors are thieves. Isaiah 56:10 calls them the watchmen of the white man. Isaiah 56:10 calls them dumb dogs who cannot bark, who cannot teach. Greedy dogs who love to slumber. That's how the Bible describes your pastors in the church. Now, the pastors, they're not our enemies. They're our brothers. Some of them are our sisters. We want them to help us on this great mission because it's more than just Ghana. Several months ago, some of our brothers went to India, where they took our people from here to India. And they call themselves the Siddhis, where they worship gods with 8 arms. Okay, we wake them. You're the Israelites, the Bible speaks of. You were made slaves in India for breaking God's commandments. But our brothers and sisters who have been scattered have been forgotten. God has not forgotten them. We have not forgotten them. The Holy Spirit has reminded us. You have brothers and sisters there. Go there, go there, go there. This is why we're here in Ghana today.
So what does the open door refers to in the book of Malachi?
All right. So tithing. Let me make sure I cut this off. All right, that's off. All right. So hopefully everybody was able to hear that. Let's start off with Brother Kwabena. Kwabena, what you got to say about that?
Brother, I'm gonna have to defer for a second because I was doing something with my father. I apologize to y'all.
Oh,
But
that's
let me defer.
okay. Okay, that's fine. Sister Linda?
All right.
Okay, I did hear it, but I had questions. Did he say it at the very beginning? Did he say about tithing in the
Yes,
beginning? They were
tithing.
doing it every 3 months. I
Yeah.
think he said every 3 months. Did he say that?
He said that the tithing was meant for sharing 10% of your crops and corn, not money.
Right, but he also said it was done not every week. He said every like 3 months or something.
He
If you want
could
to play
have.
that beginning.
Okay, Brother Doctor, did he say that every 3 months?
I'm not sure. Can you play again? I know he said something like every 3 or 6 months or something.
Okay, let's do it again.
You know.
Because see, that's key. That's why I wanted you to play it also, please.
Okay, let's check it out.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Begin.
Okay, I probably went to another clip.
Is that our brothers and sisters here in Ghana can now learn.
Okay, let me go. I think that's another clip.
Tithing in the Bible, tithing is 10% of your corn and crops. It was paid to the Levites, okay, to take care of the Levites every 3 years. The churches have
3 years. That was every 3 years, Sister Linda.
Oh, okay.
So what's your take on that, or what's your comment on that?
Yeah. See, because I know on the churches today, and I go to church, it does, you're supposed to do 10% your time or your talent or your treasure, but they expect you to do it every week. So I like that when he said every 3 years, because that makes more sense for me.
Well, he also said that it wasn't meant for you to give your money. He said everybody should be working. So that's saying that pastors should be working too and not accepting 10% of the
True.
congregational money to get those riches.
Oh, I
You
got
know,
you. Yeah. Hmm.
yeah. So anything else you want to add?
But don't they? And it doesn't it still say your time or your treasure
Well,
or
it
your
could.
talent?
I don't know, but he was saying, he mentioned just the crops. 10% of your crops. So brother Doctor brought 3 of these clips to us, and I thought it was interesting to get people to take on them.
Yeah,
Anything
and
else?
brother doctor he might want to comment on it too, because I agree that yeah, ministers should work or everybody should work.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get to brother Doctor. I'm gonna go to Sister Kathy right now. Sister Kathy, you there, Sister Kathy? Yeah, come back to you, Sister, making it happen. Sister Kathy,
Well,
go ahead, Sister, making it happen. We come back to Sister Kathy.
Well, it's just interesting to hear the difference in the interpretation and again, how it's being uh, delivered to the masses. And again, just that wordplay, that understanding, and it really takes, study and dialogue cross-culturally to get a different perspective and understanding, so that you are not just led.
Okay, brother Mashenda. Kathy,
Is that what's that?
okay, I'm gonna come back to Sister Kathy, see if she's ready after you, brother.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay.
Basically I was just listening in, but yeah, all of those can be from all kind of perspectives, everybody have their own way of doing things. And I was under the understanding is that like the sister said, that if you don't have the money, your time, talents or whatever are supposed to be given for tithe.
So you saying tithing can be given in different forms.
Yeah, I've heard that before.
Okay. Right.
Because I mean, you got to pay your rent. You can't say I better pay my tithes and you don't pay rent. I mean, that would be defeating the purpose, right?
Priorities are important.
Right.
All right, brother Machenda.
Yeah, commenting on what the brother was saying. Basically, he was just saying there's people out there pimping other people, and that's the bottom line, and he kind of broke down, we said every 3 years, talk about shared crops and the yield of vegetables or whatever. We've heard all that before. So I mean, again, these are, we got people on the planet. They got some people that are working together for a common cause, and people contribute money for a common cause, whether you contributed to a education. So if you have a church in your community that is working for the people in the community, that collects money on a regular basis from its congregation, that's being accounted for, the money that's collected, but we hear so many other pimp stories that go on. People buy airplanes and all kind of things out there, so at the end of the day, we talked about organized religion on this podcast many times, and but at the end of the day, you're just talking about people on the planet that some people do good things and some people do bad things. And that's just the bottom line. How you interpret it, who started it, who was first, all that's really, I mean, it's relevant from a historical standpoint. We don't want to close down that history because this is what we're battling right now. But as far as, the argument about organized religion versus, or religions versus other religions and things like that, but again, the brother's right. He's, there are pimps on the planet, and that's the bottom line. So we just need to try to avoid that at all costs. But if you're a part of something that keeps you in motion on a positive tip, hang with it, just be able to identify the pimps. That's all. But really, that's all I got to say.
All right. Brother E?
I don't believe in the tithing. Like Brother Mashinda said, pretty much if you want to, donate to an organization or something like that to your liking, I'd rather a person do that than give it to, a church setting or, some type of religion that's, collecting it for, self-benefit for the pastor or, whoever's in charge of that organization, just basically, do your research and, before you give money out to, anyone, just do your research. That's about it.
All right. Brother Doctor?
Yeah, I can just say, I sent you the clip because it was interesting to me. Years ago, I'm not that much of a religious guy. I tried going to a church with this semi kind of famous brother. He had a small church. And we came about each other doing some different ways, but I told him, hey, you come to my event, I come to your church. So started going to this church, going to Bible study. So I said, okay, let me see if I can get to this religion thing. And I'm going there weekly. And one day, he brought up tithing. And I'm like, hey, okay, well, what is tithing? And he puts on this big show in front of everybody. Oh yeah, people in the church, blah blah blah. You supposed to be giving me 10% of what you make a month. And me, I'm like, me from the show, I question, if you're not questioning everybody, anything they tell you not questioning, something's wrong. But I said, okay, well, you mean gross or net? He said, oh yeah, gross. But I'm sitting here, wait a minute, bro. So you want me to give you 10% of what I make a month. So you want me to give you $1,200 a month cash? And he's like, yeah, you supposed to give me and just because I want to go buy a new Rolls Royce, because he had a Rolls Royce in the parking lot. Just because I want to go buy a new Rolls Royce don't mean, blah, blah, blah. But he's going out and telling everybody they have to give up 10%. To me, nah, man. That was the last day I came to that church. And like I tell you, Rashaki, I think everybody should belong to a church or have some kind of religion except me. I'm just not that guy, man. I think the world would be better if everybody went to church except me. That's all I say.
Oh my God, that's funny. But yeah. Okay, well, I have no comment. We have enough people here commenting, and I may comment on this last one, but we got one more clip, and we're gonna come to our close. But I think this one's a real good one, and I think it's gonna be very interesting. So let's check it out. Let's check this one out. This is going to be good. We're going to close with this one. All right. Make sure I have the sound. Got it? Here we go, folks.
Do you think Juneteenth is a useless holiday?
Okay, again, he said, do you think Juneteenth is a useless holiday? So let's check it out, what he's got to say.
Do you think Juneteenth is a useless holiday?
I basically do. Single day voting on election day. We will make election day a holiday in the United States of America, so there's no complaints about it. Cancel Juneteenth or one of the other useless ones we made up. Okay? We can't have like everything be a holiday, but we'll cancel one of the other ones and make election day a holiday. Paper ballots and government issued voter ID that matches the voter file. That is what we will do.
Going back to your election security plan, you said you wanted to have a holiday. You said maybe cancel Juneteenth or one of those other useless holidays. Do you think Juneteenth is a useless holiday?
I basically do. Yeah.
Do you think Memorial Day, Veterans Day are useless holidays?
I don't, because
I stand with the presumption of time-tested traditions. Like I said, religion is, I call these things cults. I won't dignify them as religions because religions have withstood the test of time. And so I think that if we made a national commemorative holiday for everything that's important that happened in our history, we'd have no working days left. But I think that the spirit of Juneteenth, we already channel into other holidays, like Martin Luther King Day, like President's Day. I think we can commemorate the spirit of that holiday separately. So I think that we shouldn't have redundant holidays that celebrate overlapping purposes. It should have a distinct purpose. And I think, let's be honest, the reason for making that a holiday was under political duress. It was a political hostage situation on the back of the death of George Floyd. And I think that that should not be how we create holidays. We should not create holidays with a cultural gun to our head. And that's what happened with Juneteenth.
Interesting, people. Interesting. All right. Let's go. We're going to start off. Let's start off with Brother Doctor on this one. Brother Doctor.
There's this video, man. In a way, I kind of agree with him. I think the holiday was made because of political reasons. I think it made it to, to soothe Black people, just to, hey, just one of those little crumbs or biscuits they threw out to make us satisfied. But yeah, man, I didn't learn about Juneteenth till about, I think, about 6 years ago. I had clue about it. I know Rod talks about it. But yeah, I kind of half and half, man. I mean, yeah, I really could have got something else set a holiday, man. Something, I kind of agree with him on partially, man. I think his angle though is more of I don't want to say racist, but I don't think the holiday was really made in good faith, man. It was just something thrown out there. Just, I think, like you said, political reasons. I think we need to get rid of all holidays, man. We don't need holidays. Get rid of all holidays and just give people 12 extra days off a year, any day they want to take. Get rid of all holidays, man.
Interesting. I have a little bit to say at the end on that. Okay, let's go to Sister Making It Happen.
That's a hot one. So I have definitely mixed feelings. Initially, I was like, what in the world? And coming out of that mouth, but there's a whole lot of things there. So again, that whole feeling of, racism just being spewed. But I do agree on some things, on some waste of time. But I know that for us, that it's a really important day. And it means a lot to our culture, but how it came about and the time, it's just so much that was happening that it did lose a lot of its oomph.
Sister Making It Happen?
Yeah, it lost a lot of sense because, like I said, it was kind of thrown out there. I celebrated it just because it's part of my culture, so I know about it. My kids knew about it, and so when it, started becoming a bandwagon type of a thing, I just feel like it's a way of watering down anything that is important to us.
Okay, thank you, Sister Linda.
I'm going to agree with her, what Sister Making It Happen was saying, because when I first listened to it, my first thought was with him, I said, ignorant people don't know they're ignorant. And then I kept listening to him, and I agree with it. They hadn't been given justice, because it's very important to our culture and to me and my family. And I the first brother said, because I only learned about it because my brother went to school at Wilberforce. He told us, because I had never heard of it. But now I think it's very important. And people from not in our culture, they just don't understand. They'll probably never understand. So and I'm still gonna celebrate it. maybe not a holiday, but I will keep telling my child about it, and any child or anybody I come into contact with, because it's very important for our culture and our community.
Okay, thank you. One thing I could say to that is, it's good to hear people out, because when they first say something, you may not get the gist of what they're trying to say. That's important. All right, Brother E.
Yes, holiday, as far as a holiday, it really doesn't matter, to me one way or the other, you know what I'm saying, as long as we know the importance of it in history, and that we could teach our children, further generations, like the sister said, that's been kind of, kind of watered down, since, showing more recognition, and, the Caucasians are kind of celebrating with us as well. So it's kind of watered down, but I do like congregating with our brothers and sisters on that day, for growth amongst each other or whatever we're doing, just in festive spirit, So, as far as a holiday, I would like to get paid for it, I would like a paid holiday for it, but, it doesn't make one way or the other to me. That's it.
All right. All right, Sister Kathy. All right, Kathy. She had to unmute. Brother Quabana. He may be busy. Brother Mashenda.
Yeah, so you look at the dude that was talking, man. He's he understanding what's happening on the planet. European is dissipating as we talk here, as far as their existence on the planet. Uh, so they're inviting and bringing in new people within their politics and things like that. So you look at the people from India. It's a lot of them getting in politics. It's like a huge climb of Indians getting into politics now. So you got to pay attention to that. So what's happening is they're pretty much. So what that dude is doing is basically appealing to the white majority. And I don't know that guy, but this is just I'm kind of just going out on a limb and logically in my own mind saying, he's that's what he's doing. I mean, he might have in his heart, in his mind, I'm not in it, you know what I'm saying? So, he might have some good values about him or something, But I look at it this way: when, you get somebody like that who's attacking a holiday, it's a black holiday, So why aren't you're not attacking any other thing? You wasn't talking about President's Day or any other day, it's Juneteenth. So Columbus Day, some people still take off for Columbus Day, I guess. I know we don't, but some people believe in Columbus Day and other days or whatever. So it's just a matter of preference, So, but what this guy is doing, he's representing, just like if you look at the census, they're trying to count the Mexicans as white, and to keep their political position, they incorporate, these front, I look at them as puppets, they bring them into politics. You take, Louisiana, where I'm at, they had a governor named Bobby Jindal. Now, who heard of Bobby Jindal? He graduated, I think, from LSU, Louisiana State University. He comes in talking real proper, and trying to appeal. And he was very, very, the word they use is conservative. That's what they say, but that's just another word for, white supremacy, racism, or keep black people out of power, or keep others out of power that don't believe in what we believe in. So But that's what it is. So of course, you get a guy like that. He's like a Tim Scott. You know, if you're familiar with a guy named Uncle Tim Scott out of South Carolina, and also Mark Robinson, the lieutenant governor out there in the world. These guys, man, they're appealing to the white constituency. So they, but it's about their own self gain and being accepted among, they're pretty much selling out. They're selling their soul to the devil, pretty much. So that's all this guy is doing is, so they'll take. I don't know if you want to consider that. I guess it was a hot button item when they were voting on Juneteenth or whatever. That was something people in Texas acknowledged. So that's kind of the mystery. Is like, well, why would you choose Juneteenth when that was more like a Texas event? Or people unaware, what was going on with slavery and things like that. So. But I'm cool with it because it provokes thought discussion about Black people, the struggle. Anytime we can have something that we can identify with as it relates to the struggle, to remind our young children and our ignorant adults that, things did happen. Things did happen. Things are happening now. You better get your mind right because you're gonna be on the on the other side of the equation, which might not fare well for you. But that's all that guy is doing, man. Is basically he's in politics and he's trying to win elections like your boy Uncle Tim Scott. So I have no respect for that kind of behavior. You know what I mean? But he is who he is. But like I say, Bobby Jindal, he was something else as the governor. I mean, he was anti-Black for the most part. Now there were certain things that passed under his administration with that I might have agreed with. Like, I think where I work at in higher education, he didn't cut higher money from higher education. So, but of course, you and I both know that, especially down here or anywhere in America, that we're not a huge population who works in higher education. So it affected more other folks than us. But, so I can say that, hey, I was happy that he didn't cut at that particular year when things were kind of economically bad at that time, so, but that's what I remember about him. But other than that, oh man, he was down with, he has the Trump mentality, the DeSantis mentality. This is nothing new under the sun. Like I say, they just raccoons that's walking around in the daytime now. That's all. They sick, brother. So you better watch out.
Question to you, Brother Mashenda, when it was a time when they wasn't sick? Brother Mashenda?
When it wasn't sick?
Where they wasn't sick. Where's the time where they were actually saying?
Let me say this to you.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a time when they were bold. They would lynch you. They drag you. They cut your arms off or whatever. That's bold. They call you names. They mess with our females. Okay, so they were bold and sick at their best. Okay, but then it came a time where we don't read about brothers and sisters hanging from trees as much like that. So it quieted down on that front. You quiet down somewhat, on that front. It's still going down. Don't get it twisted. It's going down, and a lot of children are missing. A lot of things are happening. So, but the point I'm making is they're making a comeback with that bold, that where they're not trying to hide it. See, that's the thing.
Overt.
So, like I say before,
more of an overt.
That's a term in that's a term in the dictionary.
Yeah, overt versus covert.
So yeah, that's correct. So that you answered your own question then, right?
I just want you to expound on it a little bit, but
well, that's what I'm saying. So at the end of the day, You said, when have they not been sick?
Yeah.
Well, you know, like I say, since I've been around, there's been a lot of things going on. But I'm saying is, I'm just trying to let you know that the intensity of the fire has been turned up. That's my whole point. So now, if you don't want it to go back to where you're hanging from a tree, then you got to do something about it. You know, you got to, and I'm not saying you per se, but people, they got to, actually, like Brother Kwabena says time and time again, you got to organize and mobilize in a constructive way, in a constructive way. And so that's what I meant by that, though. You said overt. That's a good word. I say brazen. I say a sick raccoon walking in the daytime, just to give a visual. It's like that's not normal to see a raccoon walking around in the daytime. I'm in the South. Usually they might have rabies or something. It's a strong possibility. So what I'm saying is, this is what they're doing. They're in broad daylight in Montgomery, Alabama, where there's 60% black people jumping on black folks and got beat down. Whether they were drunk or not, that was just a theory of mine. But at the end of the day, that show you that that level of boldness is ticking back up. So that makes it dangerous for your kids who are walking to school, or your family who's in the supermarket shopping, or going to church on Sundays, or whatever. This is the whole point. You got some sick individuals, and they're getting younger and younger, So yeah, that's my point. So yeah, they might have been sick forever, but you ain't seen it like this in a long time, where they setting it off for real. So not a conspiracy theory, but it's happening. So, but anyway, I hope everything is gonna be all right.
Yeah. Yeah. Optimism. Brother Kavanaugh, did you want to say something about that?
Yeah, it's like the brother just said, Machina just said. I thought about Bobby Jindal right away, because he was horrible, and just trying to appease or get that audience, that Trump type GOP right wing knuckleheads. Juneteenth is legitimate holy day for our people. I think that this country overall should have even more holidays. I remember the U.S. used to be, Japan used to be the country that worked people so much. The U.S. been past Japan, so they need even more. And even after this, we're about to see a change with post-COVID. We saw what happened during the pandemic, and just with things changing in society right now, AI, all of that, we're about to see a change. But these capitalists gonna try to reach for and grab as much money as they can and much stuff as they can. But no, but I agree, he's just an idiot, trying to get elected on that same right wing Florida, the Satan type madness, that that extremism. So no, we're up with Juneteenth. You guys did an excellent program. People should probably go back and check it out. I thought
I was going to mention that.
Dealing with Juneteenth a couple months ago. Excellent program that evening. But no, he's an idiot. That's another knucklehead presidential candidate.
Okay, that's good to hear that's another one of them guys that we need to be looking out for. Okay, Sister Kathy, are you?
He ran out. She chased him out. Then he picked up something and threw at her, and she just started unloading right in broad daylight, man. About 5 o'clock, cars, buses. She just started unloading on him in the middle of the street. About 5, 6 shots. He ran away. He was running away. Then she walked like 10 yards and just started unloading again. I know they arrested her for attempted murder. I know the brother is in critical condition. And I just know she was 23 years old. She has some skills. I just want to know if you had any, since you're out that way, what's the story on that, man?
Yeah, I didn't hear the story, to be honest with you. I'm gonna have to research that and check it out. But that's one that got away from me. I didn't hear that, because I hadn't been watching local news lately. Of course, local news sometimes won't even, where I'm at, might not. I don't even know where that was at. So that could have been in North Louisiana or Central Louisiana, somewhere Western Louisiana. I'm in Southeast Louisiana.
was in New
So,
Orleans. New Orleans.
okay, it was New Orleans. Okay, yeah, I'm surprised that I missed it. Because usually somebody would, my wife or somebody would say, hit me on to it, like, hey, did you hear about this or that? But I've been kind of involved in some other things right now. But I'll definitely read the story. But I don't have any information. I think it must have been a bold dude that ran into the wrong one. So that's all I can say. And be lucky to be alive. But I didn't hear the story, brother.
Brother
Right.
Maskani, I'm gonna just kind of share one thing real quick too. I just thought was interesting. I know we're going over these current events. I mean, just how Jamie Foxx, just got checked by some Jewish community for just saying that if they kill Jesus, they'll kill me or something like that, which so many people say. And they put that as it was anti-Semitic. And of course, he apologized. And one of the things he said when he apologized is that if I offended anyone, so it probably didn't offend all of them, but if it offended anyone, he apologizes for that. But yet we see Django Unchained. We see this new movie about Tyrone that's out there where M-bombs are dropped like crazy. And on Django Unchained, it's that Quentin Tarantino, who we understand is Jewish. He also did Inglourious Bastards, and where they just say the K word, that K bomb, they dropped 2 of them in that whole movie, but Django Unchained dropped about 150. So we want an apology from Jamie Foxx too. Apologize to us because some of us are offended. It's ridiculous. There's just so much, man.
All right. I was out for a minute, so I didn't get the beginning of what Brother Doctor said. But I'll listen to it on the recording. Sister Kathy, did you have a comment?
No, I'm just still listening in. I'm just soaking it all in.
Okay, well, I'm going to say 2 or 3 things. Now, I know that Juneteenth, we didn't have shows on it. You can check it out. I think we didn't have 2 or 3 shows, Professor and Rahh on Conscious Corner. Had 2 or 3 shows on Juneteenth, and we talked about Juneteenth on a few other shows. And one thing about us, and this is my thoughts, we inherited our culture through this struggle that we've been put through, and I would say that we're very impressionable. Professor Rahh is calling in now. Let me tell him to join right quick. Professor Rahh, can you join? We're still on. Are you able to? Okay. So we'll let Rahh say 2 or 3 things if anybody want to stay on. But I say that we're impressionable and we inherited the ideology of these celebrations of holidays. And when we take on the characteristics of our oppressor, and we go into these holidays with their traits, they're not beneficial. If you think about this last Juneteenth celebration, this year's celebration, and how I think it's in Quabbana's area where you had a shooting at a celebration, and I mean they were there late night, so that's not the spirit of Juneteenth. That's not being free. That's staying enslaved when you're shooting on a celebration of the last people hearing that slaves were free. And then I kind of take on the ideology of Neely Fuller. He say don't celebrate, educate. So if we get an education about Juneteenth, I'm with it. But if we just gathering together, eating, drinking, smoking, that's not. I don't think that's the spirit of Juneteenth. And if it is, I don't want no part of it. But hopefully, Professor Rahh is going to come on. I'll give him a few more minutes. I told him we were still here. So before we get out of here, do anybody have a last comment Brother Doctor, Mashinda, Sister Making It Happen, Linda, Brother E, Wabana, Kathy.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it was a great show. Thank you for the discussion and the dialogue and the discourse on the current events. Good job. Well done.
Appreciate you attending and giving your commentary. We always appreciate people coming out. And you are, Sister Making It Happen, one of our team members. So whenever you come, it's great. Anybody else?
Yeah, I'd like to say it was a great show as usual. I'm glad I got to tune in and be a part.
Good to have you back, Sister Kathy.
Thank you for having me.
Sister Linda?
Oh no, I was just concurring with the other lady said. I had loved it tonight, even though y'all know it's 10:30 here. Now it's time for my get back to school time.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
but I'm glad I got on and I learned some more and have some more things to think about. Thank you all.
So we're going to go ahead and close. I don't know if Professor Rahh was calling me for another reason. So I'm going to go ahead and close. And then next week, well, this Wednesday, we have a teacher panel that's coming on. And we're going to talk about this year's goals that teachers have. And then we're going to also want to find out, why do teachers teach? What is their reason for teaching? That's two things I want to bring out. Here comes Professor Rahh. All right, good. I'm going to see if he's able to make a comment on at least one of the topics we talked about. All right. So allowing him on. I don't know why. But we do have internet issues. Yeah, internet. Yeah. Professor Rahh.
Yes.
So we talked about 4 topics this evening, and I would like for you to comment on one of them.
All right.
We talked about the standards, the Black history standards, when they talk about that slaves had some benefits from slavery.
Uh,
So what's your take on that?
Well, I mean, you know, slavery wasn't a job. You know, it was what we call domination, deprivation, and degradation. To turn somebody, to enslave somebody, you think about what it would take to make you a slave. It'd take a lot of, or somebody trying to enslave you, a lot of torture, killing others to make you afraid, humiliating you. You know, like what they did with Kunta Kinte until he said his name was Toby. So, most white folks still see us as displaced people that they lost control of. They don't see us as Americans. And they don't even see us as human beings. You take a dog and you train him and be his master. But how do you become a master of another human being? Any special education or training or to work, they were forced to do. Africans, some of them came here with some knowledge of things that the man that enslaved them didn't know they had. Some of them created things once they gotten into slavery, and they a better way to do the job that the man was making them do. There's no way in the world a person that was enslaved benefit from it. That's like saying that bachelor, he's married. It only makes sense. How could he be a bachelor if he's married? How could he benefit if the dynamic of slavery, a European slavery, because back in ancient history, I'm of the opinion the word slavery just meant you was working. We used to say it in the 60s, I gotta go to my slave. Mean you had to go to work. But when it came down to European shackle slavery, that had nothing to do with work. That was exploitation. How could you benefit if you ain't getting paid? But the man that's beating you, raping your children and raping you, brutalizing you, is getting paid for your work. DeSantis is not the only white man to feel that. You got white people that talk about they're suffering from reverse discrimination. Reverse discrimination. By who? Like the white folks that went into Washington, D.C. on January 6th, said we're taking our country back. Taking it from who? Yourself? You're running it. Like the people say, white power wasn't built. Well, it's like white racists built this country. This country didn't build white racists. That's why for years we weren't included in the Constitution. It took the 14th Amendment. So they don't see us as they don't even see the Native American, that this is his country. They over there fighting to save Ukraine. That's why, I don't even know what else to say. They fight, talking about they gotta save Ukraine because they're being invaded. By who? By other white folks. And not the Asians or the Africans saying we want to take our country, our land back. And so that's what racism is all about. That's what white folks are supporting Trump for. That's why they don't care about his policy. They don't care about nothing we do. As long as he's talking about putting white people back in power to do whatever they want to do and get away with it. So that's how I see that. There's nowhere in the world anybody can benefit from slavery or being enslaved. That's the key, enslaved. Now, there are a lot of people come to this country and they volunteer to work for cheap wages. or slave wages. We didn't do that. We were forced to. And they found different ways to keep slavery and enslavement going. And still find pockets of people still practicing enslavement back in rural areas, today. That's about it.
Appreciate you coming on, Rahh.
All right.
All right, folks, we're going to go ahead and take our pause and Conscious Corner, each one teach one. Everybody continue to have a good evening.